So, Mommy stayed asked her, and that's the toilet word.
You are listening to Life Under the Laundry Pile, airing it all out, one conversation at a time. Don't make that face at me when I do that.
I was lip syncing.
Hola, Heather.
Oh. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm trying to come up with different ways to say, hey, girl, what's up?
Hey, girl, hey. Why do I think of, what was that show, In Living Color, with Hey, Girl, hey? The guy who used to play the Shaniqua or Shanae, remember that? No? Am I showing my age here? Come on.
Martin.
Yeah, no, yes. It was,
yeah,
In Living...
I can't remember his name,
Living Color.
Yeah, it's like Shanae.
It was, yeah. I'm good. It's been kind of crazy around here. We started back to school yesterday.
Oh, yeah, how'd that go?
We did. It did not go very well. Let's just say, all right, let me rephrase that. We have to, the school here starts super, super early. So I get up at 4:30. I get the kids up at 5:30. We have to physically leave the house at 6:30. So yesterday, it was great. Everything was fresh. It was new. We were all excited. We got up, put our outfits on, and I am not that mom who does everything the night before. Let's just be honest. That'd be asking too much. So I was...
Maybe you might be if you're not having to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
That's my time to drink my coffee. So that in my defense. So I was sewing waistbands of pants because my kids are all too damn skinny. I was struggling with Paige because we discovered her dress neckline was too big, and so she wanted to put a t-shirt underneath it. So she said, fortunately, she'd already put shorts on underneath it, and so we went through about 10 shirts before she found a shirt. So I take their picture on the front steps. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they were super cute. They looked all put together.
They were cute.
But the backstory behind it was not so cute because Landon had toothpaste all over his shirt. Paige had the, meltdown with the dress, and Emma had lost her bow. So we get in the car at 6:21, which I was amazed. 6:21 now. So we get to the school, and you have to park the first day and walk them in, of course. Well, everybody had parked by the time we got there, and we had to park way out in the field where the track is. And I thought, my minivans are not made to go off-roading, but it was...
For mudding,
yeah. It was friggin' off-road, just, I thought to myself, I need to buy a damn SUV if we're going to live here for very long. But, so I get them in, I get them there, and they separate them out into grades in the gym, kind of like they did, at our old school in the cafeteria. Right. And poor little things, there's 2 on the left side and Paige is on the right side. And I am constantly turning my head, looking at all of them. And they're all like little deer in the headlights. And Paige looks like she's on the verge of just melting down. I could see it. And I look over, and Landon, he looks fine, but they're all literally staring straight ahead like this. And I'm like, oh my God, just get to class. Just go. Get occupied. So they go to class. I walk Paige, of course, because I'm not 3 people and I can't walk all 3, which broke.
Right, and she's your tiniest.
Broke my heart. Yeah. I felt like the shittiest parent not being able to walk all 3 to class, but it was what it was. So I walk her to class and she's totally fine. I leave her. So then the bus comes, and the bus is not supposed to get here until like 2:45-ish, and at 2:35. Landon comes running up the front steps, and I'm like, oh shit, running out there trying to, because you want to be there. You want to be there for that first day, waiting for them to get off the bus. Well, here comes Emma and Paige walking down the street, and Paige is crying without her dress on. Don't worry, she's not naked. Thank God she had a complete outfit underneath the dress. She looked like a throwaway. Her outfit did not match. I was mortified that people probably thought, your child looks like a throwaway on the first day of school. So I said, where's your dress? And she said, I took it off. And I said, at what point? On the bus, maybe? No, during the day. And I was like, shit. So she walked through who knows how long looking like that. But she had a meltdown. And those of you that know, things like this can totally ruin something for Paige. She got on the bus, and her teacher is a new teacher, and she forgot to write Paige's address on her. The kids here have a hang tag from their backpacks that show what bus they get on. So there's never a chance here for a kid to get on a wrong bus. So, but hers did not have her address on it, and she didn't know her address. We just moved here. So they pulled her off the bus, took her to the office, and of course she thought she was in trouble. And it just snowballed from there. She cried and said, I don't want to ride the bus anymore. I can't do this. I don't like this school. And I thought, this is not a good way to start the school year. But thankfully, fast forward another hour or two, she was fine.
We kind of knew that first day was going to be a doozy.
It was. And, they adjusted much better than I thought. It's not Hidden Hollow, I will tell you. As much as people like to brag about how great this school is, I definitely think Hidden Hollow had it wrapped up in spades. They were an amazing school, and I don't think it's going to be hard to top them. It really is. So, but today we did get to school. We left about 10 minutes late, which was fine. I've decided I'm not going to stress about it. It is what it is,
What time does class start there?
7:15, and thankfully we have a crossing guard, so she stops because their school is out on a major highway.
Right.
And so she stops traffic and allows cars to get out and come in, and so you kind of have to creep down the highway to get to it. So let's just say we left at 6:40, and I was home at 7:15, so I did not think that was bad at all.
No.
So, but yeah.
Will they eventually take the bus in the morning, or you think you're just going to drive them in every day?
I smile because the bus here comes at 5:55.
So no.
So
absolutely not.
Fucking no.
That's not worth getting your kids up. Yeah.
Emma says, "Oh, we can get up. I can get up," and I'm like, "You can get up, but they can't get up."
And quite honestly, getting them up and on the bus that early in the morning, you're setting them up to be exhausted all day long.
You should have seen how tired they were last night, which is great. I'm not complaining, but there's going to come a point where it definitely catches up with them, and it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
So yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yes.
There's a disturbance right outside my door because not all of us have our kids going to school.
Hurricane Red. So
Hurricane Red is stomping up the stairs. So.
You say disturbance. That's what I always think of as tropical depression or a hurricane. Because living in Florida my whole life, that's what you think of. So, but yeah, so we're getting there. We'll adjust. We'll adjust. So,
awesome.
Let's go.
Well, while you were going back to school, we are going on vacation.
Yeah.
So I'm actually taking a break from getting ready in order to record with you. But by the time this goes out, I will be in Gulf Shores.
You are going to my neck of the woods, sort of ish.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I need a vacation.
So, in fact, we might actually on Tuesday head over to Pensacola and check. My kids love that stinking museum.
Yeah.
So,
and it's free.
I think if we're that close and we don't go see the planes, they're going to be pissed.
And I have to say that's probably one of the best museums we've ever gone to.
It's amazing,
and it's free.
And it's free. It's free. It's crazy.
Yep.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola. It's on the base, and it's actually where the Blue Angels practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you go on, and I think it's Mondays or Tuesdays, and we usually go on Tuesday, but if you go on Tuesday mornings, you can watch them practice. Mm-hmm. And then, the museum is free. The practices are free. It's just a really nice experience, and they have so much stuff. Yeah. The museum is actually 2 or 3 different buildings. It's crazy. It's an all-day thing.
It is.
But it's really cool.
And I'll be honest, my kids were not impressed with the space museum here in Huntsville in Alabama. But every single time we've ever gone to the museum, the NAS museum, they love it. They really do.
It's an amazing museum. They've done a great job with that
one.
It is. So, but other than that, we're going to probably just play it by ear. A lot of pool time, beach time, alcohol time.
But and by the time you get back, you guys will kind of be winding down.
Yeah, we'll have. We'll be back on the 12th, so we'll have about 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's typically, time for haircuts, time for, wrapping up all the last minute shopping, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
getting that schedule back in place because, man, that thing is just all out of whack right now. So.
Oh, you preaching, girl. We went from getting up at 11 o'clock to getting up at 5:30. So,
nobody knows better than you.
It ain't pretty, but you get it. I tried to be that mom where we practice for 2 weeks before school starts and get back up at time. But you know what? I didn't want to do it, so I'm not going to make my kids do it. So
that's what happens every year. Is I'm like, we're going to start 2 weeks in advance, and we're going to get up. And not only are we going to get up at the time that we should, we're going to brush our teeth and get dressed and have breakfast, so we'll be ready, quote unquote, at the time that the bus would pick us up. And then we're going to read a book and do some workbooks, so we can kind of get back in the mode before we do anything else.
Do you want me to slap you now or later?
That's like that lasts about 15 minutes in the day, and I'm like, everyone just needs to go watch TV and shut the fuck up. Like, I mean.
Do you know, though, I found a happy compromise. This year, I saw a really...
Xanax?
Lots of booze. Lots of booze. I read an article, or I read a comment on Facebook where the mom said they did this, and it was a really great idea. So our school starts on Tuesday. So on Monday, I decided to do a trial run. And I told the kids, if you can get up, get out the door on time, on school time, we'll go get donuts for breakfast as your treat. So let's just say we got up, we were way behind, and we finally got to the donut place. I guess so. Technically, we were supposed to be at school we were supposed to leave at 6:30, and we left at 7:30. So we were an hour behind. But I still thought that was nothing to sneeze about because we were out the door dressed and everything for 7:30.
I think that's pretty impressive considering like the day before it was 11 o'clock when you were rolling out of bed. Yeah.
But even Landon said, Mommy, we failed. We didn't make it out on time. And I was like, you know what, buddy? I will take it.
Close enough for donuts.
Yep. So we went to Dunkin' Donuts as their treat. But I thought, I thought that was a better compromise than trying to get them up repeatedly. And
right.
So, but.
And, and they don't realize that the little known secret is the fact that you're going to get donuts one way or the other. Yeah. So.
And it was. Like, if we had been 3 hours late, I still would have taken them. But it was nice that they were able to get up and get dressed.
They wanted to. They wanted to do it. So.
But it's...
Okay, so I was, we're doing, the new segment every week where we kind of talk about something we've caught in the news or something that's super crazy just happened to one of us or whatever. I came across this thing. My friend Nina, she commented on this article and it made me like, it was a rabbit hole for me, man. Like she commented on it. So I'm like, oh damn, Nina's onto something. So I looked into it. This girl had a couple weeks ago, she had posted this whole thing about how her boy, they had been at this water park up in.
Wait, let me stop. Let me stop you for a second. So this is is this the WTF segment? Yeah?
Yeah, I guess if that's what you want to call it.
There's no lesson to learn from this one, right?
Don't do meth.
Okay, well then this one is what lesson did we learn? So go ahead.
Don't lie on Facebook because people are going to call your shit out. Yeah. So I guess let's listen. You can tell me if you get it. I think that's a lesson, but you tell me what you think. So this woman put out, and a teeny bopper, whatever. She and her little boyfriend had taken their kids to a water park up in, I want to think it's in Rhode Island, called Water Whiz. It's a really nice water park, I guess. So she told this whole story on Facebook how her boyfriend was her hero because he had gone out to, they had forgotten their phones on them, so he had taken them to walk them out to the car instead of, putting them in a locker, because they had a locker at the water park. But he had to take their phones back out to the car, and in the process, he thwarted a abduction attempt. And so, like, he was, I guess, what I got from it was he had been gone for a while, like longer than he should for just running out to the car. And he came back with like a bloody hand and a bump on his head. And he told his girlfriend that he had come across this guy trying to kidnap this child and had beat the shit out of him and then beat the shit out of the guy's girlfriend when she tried to, jump on top of him and get him off of him. And the police were called and everything and blah, 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 blah. So, and how unsafe this water park is and how amazing it was that her boyfriend was there or whatever. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
It was all bullshit. The water park went on Facebook and said, we literally have no idea what you're talking about. And then police department came on and said, we have no idea what you're talking about. And people started calling them out on it. Like her Facebook page was shut down because people were just ripping into her. And I'm like, I don't know if she was part of the lie or he told her a lie and she believed it or whatever. So it turned into this whole thing. Like the internet went crazy over this. And there was an article written by this blog up there, and they called her like the Teen Mom cast off and all this stuff because they have the what's the term, like Snooki, what are they?
Oh, Jersey Shore, those people.
Jersey trash
Yeah.
is basically what they look
Right.
like, you know. I mean, the guy has a history of physical violence towards people, like a record and everything. And so it went quiet after a while, and I'm like, oh, Nina never disappoints. Like, this is amazing. It took up my entire night reading these comments from people because it just went from, like, not just the water park page, but her own personal page where she had originally posted. You know, they were like, oh my gosh, she's a hero, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, after the police department in the park came out and said that's not true, it went from how amazing to you guys are all assholes and just like calling them out on their lies. And she's trying to defend it, but you can kind of see where she starts to panic. So I like spent the entire night reading comments because I love comments. And then it went quiet. Nina tagged me the other day. The police ended up bringing the guy in, and the stupid asshole recorded the conversation, which is completely against the law. So they arrested him for false reports. Like, he made up the whole thing. Intimidating a police officer. I don't know what that's about, but he probably tried to fight somebody. And unlawful wiretapping. I'm like, this is a crazy situation. Like, how do you start your day? Let's go to the water park with our 2 kids, to being arrested for wiretapping and making up a story about an abduction in a parking lot. Like, I'm curious about what led you down that path that you'd say, yeah, I kept someone from kidnapping a kid. Like, you're not going to get called out on that?
Oh, okay. Well, the burning question is, how did he get wounded in the parking lot?
My guess is, and this was not my theory, this was someone
He got
else's
high
theory.
on meth and he fell in the parking lot. I mean,
so someone, and this is, I do not take credit for this theory, but I'm like, oh hell yeah, that makes sense. So this is like the white trash in me coming out that I'm obsessed with this story because it's so, I mean, come on, this is Teen Mom material, you know. So you know that show, right?
I've never seen it, but yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. So, and it goes along the lines like Snooki and the other ones. I can't remember all the, whatever their names are. But, so there's this theory that he was walking the phones out to the car, which still doesn't make any sense. Just put your freaking phone, you were keeping those phones out for selfies anyway, but just throw them in your bags or whatever. So supposedly he's walking these phones out to the car. I think, well, this girl thought, and I thought it made sense, that he started going through her phone and found like messages from a guy or pictures or something and got really pissed and did something, you know.
Like hitting things and like beating himself up. Yeah, that's totally possible. Like, what is this guy?
Or he got in an altercation with someone out in the parking lot and they both parted ways with it. But like, why not just say, I mean, you could have said I tripped and fell. Why go with something that you know people can fact check?
I think, if this is my theory, that the guy got wind of maybe like a meth deal or a drug deal, or he had to go meet someone in the parking lot. So he says, hey, I'm going to go put my phones in the car, even though I really could.
Drug deal gone wrong.
And so when he went out to the parking lot, maybe something shady happened then, and he had no way to explain to her how he got injured. So yeah, especially if he was.
So do you think she's innocent in this whole thing and she just believed him, or she helped with?
If she was still in the park, then yeah, probably. But if she had gone out, like, I don't know, and I have,
because I feel. Oh, go ahead.
I just have to believe that places like this have security cameras these days. So I don't really understand this whole story. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't have pulled up, security footage.
So they did have security cameras.
Okay.
And from what I've taken from the different articles I read, and I've read all the articles, trust me, you know how I get obsessed about shit like this, and then I just, yeah. So the police reports from afterwards said that they did try to, so the parking lot to the park itself is relatively small, and they, by the way, have cops on site at all times. Like, people were coming back with, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're on it. Like, kids are not able to walk out of the park. Their security is tight. Like, you have to be with somebody, and like someone else would have stopped this before it even started.
Right.
So the parking lot, I guess, is really small, and most people park like off site. And there was a tractor store next to the park that did have security cameras, and they did pull those, but it was not, it did not cover the area where he says he was parked.
Okay. Because Because I'm envisioning him like beating himself up, like you know, like.
But I think you might be right that like he went out there to either buy or sell, and shit went down, and that's the only excuse he could come up with, because he's a fucking idiot. I mean, let's be honest. And I think that she isn't, because it doesn't. If she was in on it, it doesn't make any sense to announce it to the world. You know?
You just exactly.
Because her original story was shared like multiple times before Water Whiz caught on to it and said, and I love their response. They were like, yeah, no, that didn't happen. Like, not on, you know.
That's so funny.
We have no record of it. And the police station was like, we have no record of it. That it didn't go down like that. So,
you know, and you bring up a really good point. I always read the comments on stuff every single time. And sometimes I'll read the comments before I'll even read the story. Like, I'm it's like that popcorn meme. I'm just here for the comments.
Yeah.
I am. And the comments oftentimes are better than the actual article itself.
And the comment section is like the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. I mean, honestly, like, but like you said with the popcorn, I'm just sitting there eating popcorn, watching people go after each other.
It's great. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the comments piss me off so bad though that I have to actually like get out of the post.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I just can't.
do too.
I just can't with you. Nope. I'm just gonna.
If sometimes it gets to the point where I decide I need to reply, and then I usually just type my reply, hit delete, and leave. Like that's I get it on my system.
Yes.
And then it's rare for me to actually post anything.
Though
I don't.
Do you ever like other people's comments? Like I will, like passively aggressively. I will like that bitch. I'm like, hell yeah, motherfucker, you got it. You know, you said it.
I'm actually in this this one group. It's an offshoot of a bigger group, and it's so there's this bigger group of people on Facebook, and then they have different offshoots for like cooking and travel and parenting and books. And, you know, you get the idea.
Right.
So the parenting group, some lady posted yesterday. She's like, "Oh my God, I need to leave this group. I didn't realize that it's for showing pictures of your brats." And everybody, me included, and granted, she probably left at some point in time, but it became hilarious for us that we just totally tore into her, and I did. I'm like, well, my kids said to tell you bye, bitch. Yeah, like.
But wait, it was a family page?
Yeah, it literally had the word parent in the name.
I know. Well,
so the admin actually made her post her
featured post
is now our group page, or the picture at the top of our page.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I think we're like 125 comments in of just people either, you know, just tearing into her, and she's gone, like she left, but it was just so funny. But I did get in on that one because I'm like, God, people are stupid. I just can't sometimes. But yeah, it's rare that I actually comment, but I do sometimes type it out and then erase it. So.
Oh well, I do a lot of liking other people's comments, so I live vicariously through them.
I do love comments.
Me too. All right. All right. So, are we ready to move on to the topic?
Let's talk about our assholes.
Yes.
Let's talk about our brats.
That's highly appropriate. Our show this week is Sibling Rivalry. So
how's that going for you?
You know, when we first when I first sat down to do some research on the topic, I thought, well, is this about my kids or is this about myself? Because I am one of, let's see, I have 2 sisters, a stepsister, and a brother. So technically I'm one of 5. Even though we didn't all grow up in the same house together, so sibling rivalry does exist in some form. So I didn't know. So I made notes on both. But
yeah, we can talk about both. Do you want to talk about us first?
Yeah, we can, and then maybe that trickles down to figuring out why our kids are like they are. I read an article that was pretty interesting. It says that even though sibling rivalry doesn't technically exist as an adult, it turns into adult envy. So you're not fighting over, necessarily you're not competing for affection from a parent like kids typically do. It
Right.
turns into property and items as your parents get older, and then you unknowingly, it's still sibling rivalry, but it becomes adult envy. So just for
Right.
example, if your parent passed away and they left all these things or left property or things like this, and you find out, oh, well, he got that, why didn't I get that? Or she gets that, why can't I get it? So I thought that was a really interesting thing. I never really thought about it that way, because I just assumed once you're out of the, childhood years, you kind of lose the sibling rivalry. Because I
Right.
know I don't really have that with my siblings. So I do tend to get, I will say that I tend to get jealous sometimes of the, not the attention, I guess, maybe so much. Maybe it is the attention that my brother gets from my mom, as opposed to what I
Right.
get. And I know you're going to hear this, Mom, so here you go. That's my passive-aggressive way of telling you that it drives me crazy. Sometimes I feel like my brother is the favorite, and I'm not in certain situations. So I guess maybe.
But I happen to know for a fact that she adores you more than life itself.
She
so-
does, but I'm still not numero uno. It's my brother. It's my damn brother.
No, I think Remy is numero uno.
Yeah, if we're being honest, the dog gets the top spot. So what the fuck? That puts me down to number 3. I can't help my brother's famous, and I am not. I did birth 4 grandchildren for you. Come on.
Not famous yet.
She's gonna text me after she gets this, right? After she hears this. So what do you think? Do you think adult envy is kind of a thing? Do you think you still have sibling rivalry?
There are 6 kids in my family. And we're a blended family. So there's, 2 from my dad's side, 2 from my mom's side, and then there's my brother and I. Growing up, for sure, there was sibling rivalry. As we got older, it got a little bit more quieter, but I totally agree with the and it's not parental based, and that's a story I won't get into online. But what did you call it? The sibling envy?
Adult
Is that
envy.
the word you use?
Adult envy.
Adult envy. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not going to call another person out on that, but we definitely have that does rear its ugly head every once in a while. So, and it's not so much the things that we get from our parents, but there's that game of keep up.
Yeah.
So, I can totally.
I think I
Totally see
find
that.
my sisters, because they grew up together in the household. We share a dad, and they grew up together.
Right.
I find that they spend a lot of time together, and they do things together, and I don't live near them, so of course I'm not always included. But I think just
Right.
subconsciously, I still envy that they have that relationship.
Connection.
And
Right.
even though I'm sure if I said, "Hey, I want to come," they would be like, "Absolutely, you come." I still feel like kind of left out, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, but yeah, adult envy is definitely a thing. And I kind of disagree with the article where it says you no longer compete for affection. I think to me, it is more of that. Like
Right.
I'm not materialistic, so I'm not going to fight over, material objects. But that being said, if anything did ever happen, to someone that you love, and, you did have to fight for the things that, should belong to you, I guess that would be a different story. Then the gloves would have to come out, I guess. But
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, so it's kind of, I discovered some things about myself that I really didn't know, which kind of happens a lot when I do research. I don't know about you.
It does. Like every freaking week is some sort of like therapy session for
Revelation,
you.
absolutely. And you know what?
Right.
That's not a bad thing. Free therapy is great. So,
I really don't think we are in the position to give each other therapy.
free therapy is always good. As long as you don't make me lay on no nasty ass couch and talk about my feelings. I like for it to come out like this. I make my own revelations. Though technically, I think that's what the hell goes on when you pay people.
I think
You're
so. Yeah. I
literally-
mean, I've never been to therapy. Have
No,
you?
but I think that's what happens. I think you
Maybe we should.
we have our own therapy. Yes, we're doing it. So
So now that we've gone past the sibling thing, do you have a question?
no, I was just gonna say. So
Okay.
how do you see that it comes out in your kids?
So they didn't used to be really bad. They'd have the little bickers here and there, but now that they've gotten older, I am really seeing a lot of it more lately. Do you?
I've always had it. We've always had it in my house, but our dynamic is
Yeah.
different than yours. Aubrey and Landon have had it for a long time, and Aubrey and Emma have had it for a long time, and it's for different reasons. Aubrey, for the longest time, as we've talked about, she was an only child for 6 years, and then all of a sudden, for 3 years, I had kids, and she was
Right.
just totally put on the back burner the way she saw it. And so Landon being the only boy, she really has a lot of animosity towards him. So the sibling rivalry between those two is enormous. And then she also has an issue with Emma because she really feels like Emma got all of Papa's attention. And so that one
Right.
really hurt her. So she really, those two situations, they butt heads constantly. But then on the other hand, they'll turn around and be the best of friends for about 30 minutes.
Well, and I actually wrote that down because I'm like, the funny thing is they will, I said that they will still defend each other like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're only enemies with each other until there's another enemy in play,
Right.
and then it's them against the world. And that even goes with them against us. Like, for instance, last night, so, putting Red to bed is not fun.
Right.
And some nights are worse than others. He just doesn't like to quit. Like, he doesn't want to quit. And he doesn't want to sleep in his own bed. He wants to sleep downstairs with Matt and I. Well, last night, Matt had just had it with him. And he says, if you don't knock it off, I'm going to make you sleep in the garage. And he didn't knock it off. So Matt swooped him up and carried him downstairs like he was going to put him in the garage. And Jack went ballistic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Swooping in to protect his younger brother. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and Matt's like, dude, I wasn't really going to put him in the garage. Like, do you think I'm really that big of an a-hole?
Right.
But, like, it was just a point I was making. But Jackie just totally went into defense mode over his brother. And I see that all the time. It's all fine and dandy until, someone else comes in the picture that threatens their way of life. And then they're together, which I guess is a really good thing. And I think I like that. It doesn't bother me so much that they protect each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they were just threatening to kill each other like 5 minutes before. But mine, for the most part, like, I think our biggest situation is Maggie versus Jack.
Yeah.
So they just tend to, like, they pick at each other. And they're both totally guilty of it. They will spend all day picking at each other.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts.
And so you don't find that, you find that Maggie leaves Henry alone because he's small? Do you?
Maybe. Yeah.
I can see that. I
don't
can see
know.
that.
And the thing is sweet Jackie, he's much louder than Henry.
Okay.
And you know that. Like, I mean, Jackie's personality is very
Right.
loud.
Gotcha.
And it's very energetic. And I think sometimes it gets on her nerves to the point that she wants to crush his
Yeah.
soul. So, versus there's just Henry in the corner just doing what Henry
Right.
does. Like, Henry's a much quieter kid.
Right.
And I think that,
Wait. Henry's a much quieter kid. Is that what you said?
well, versus Jackie's personality.
Yeah, I
know.
gotcha.
That was very contradictive. But yes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, versus Henry's, or Jackie, Jackie's got no concept of personal space, and Jackie's got things to tell you all the time
Right.
and show you, and he wants to play with you, and he's a constant needer.
He's very social.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
And,
and that drives Maggie
And
nuts.
she's like me. She's more, not that she's antisocial, but she's more reserved. So
Right,
I could
right.
totally see where, that would get annoying at times,
So, and sometimes it's a verbal pushback. Sometimes, like, lately it's been physical, which drives me
Yeah.
nuts. I'm like, we can't do that. Like, there's no hands on each other at
Right.
all, And they're not going to town on each other, but they're, there's like a punch or a slap or something. And we have a rule in this house. If you slap somebody, they get a free slap.
Right.
So that probably goes against all parenting rules.
My kids
but
would be beating the hell out of each other all the time because
Yeah.
my kids have gotten to the point now where they are full on fist fighting, like pummeling
Yeah.
each other. And I have a boy and two small girls, and that's literally
those girls can hold their own, ma'am. Don't.
That's exactly, those three can fight like crazy. And it's like yesterday when they got home, since they didn't have homework, I let them get on the computer for a bit because that's how they're chatting with their friends back home. And
Right.
so Landon gets on first, and then when it was Paige's turn, inevitably they start beating each other. So then, let's see. So Landon is beating on Paige, and so then Paige gets on. So then when it's Emma's turn, then Paige turns around and then she's beating on Emma. I'm like, what is this? A fucking like abuse train? I mean, that's exactly what they did. Like they just kind of trickled.
It's an abuse train.
It kind of trickled down from one kid to the other, and I find that it's frustrating. My kids are not perfect, but they will defend each other. So I find that they just get really frustrated with each other. And
well, I have to be honest with you, when you think about it and you think about like they're I know that they're siblings, but they're these people that are thrown into a living situation together. Yep. Think about how many times you've pictured like beating on Lloyd. You know what I mean?
Well, and
the difference is as adults, we have that restraint. Like, the person that you're with is going to annoy you, for sure. And the difference is, as adults, we either cope with it in some way or shape or form. Like we find a way to deal with it. Versus kids, their only way to deal with it is to
lash out.
Yeah,
as an adult,
I kind of get it.
Yeah, no, as an adult, you have the ability to either walk away or know in your head, I really want to punch your. Or just, I really want to punch your nuts.
Sit there and hope and pray that he chokes on that fucking ice he chews on every night. Yeah.
I want to throat punch your nuts. That's what I tell Lloyd all the time. I'm going to punch you in the nutsack. But the kids don't have that ability, so that you're right. They just kind of lash out. But
lash out at each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be that, mom running through the meadow saying, "Oh, my kids never fight. They get along all the time." And I call bullshit on that. Yeah.
So, do you ever find yourself saying something that after you said it, you're like, I can't believe that just came, like it's something that popped out of your mom's mouth or?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Yeah. Well, you heard me earlier say something about feeling froggy or whatever. I do it all the time.
Right.
So.
But I find myself like, if you guys keep fighting, I'm going to stick you outside and, threatening them and stuff that like I got threatened with, or I'm going to give you something to cry about. Or if you guys, keep pestering each other, I'm going to make sure you have busy hands, or just things that like I would have, when we bickered as kids, usually we got our asses beat first.
Right.
But then like we were immediately put to work in order to distract us from the situation. So
yeah, you know what? I say so much on a daily basis to my kids. I don't even know what I say anymore, to be honest with you. I just,
Oh, I know another one. I always say, because they bicker and fight about their shit and like everyone touching each other's stuff. And I'm always like, what you do not understand is none of this belongs to you. It all belongs to me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's totally my dad,
My kids are notorious for telling me, well, that's mine. And I'm like, no, technically it's not yours. It's actually mine. Yeah. So
everything you see belongs to me.
Yeah. And that's what Lloyd says all the time. So he's really good at repeating his comments. Like he has that ability.
Yeah.
I'm so scattered like with my, my thoughts and my memory that I say different shit at any given moment. So I don't think I ever really say the same thing every time. As we know, consistency is not my friend. So,
and I had a last question. Like, do you ever think they'll grow out of it? But I think we kind of already covered that with the whole, moving into the adulthood and still having that.
I think
adult envy.
Yeah, I think it just evolves into something different. I don't think you. I'm going to play psychoanalyst here, but I don't think you ever really get rid of that. I think, unfortunately, especially in my kid's situation, I think poor Aubrey will always harbor some kind of animosity toward her younger siblings just because of the birth order and the way that the family dynamic changed for her.
Right.
And I think,
and her personality.
And I think, poor thing, she would need a lot of therapy, I'm sure. If she's not a stronger person and she can't handle it herself, eventually it's going to come out. I think that she will always carry that with her. And, I'm sure that a lot of my adult envy comes from my family dynamic as well. I can say that honestly. My sisters grew up with a mom and a dad, sort of. My brother grew up with a mom and a dad. I did not. So I do think that a lot of that envy comes from that deep-seated, situation. So Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you truly ever outgrow it. I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I think we take our we carry our baggage with us, and it just keeps getting bigger.
We do carry our baggage with us, and that does still pop up. And when you mentioned that with like them growing up with a mom and dad, and your situation being a little different, I totally get that, because a lot of times. And this is more therapy than we probably want to get into, but like my sisters would be like, you remember when mom taught us this? And I'm like, no, because she didn't teach me that. I mean, like,
right.
It didn't happen for me. Like, I did not have the same childhood they had.
Right.
You know, mine was quite a bit darker.
And as we've learned from the course of a year of doing these shows, the things we do to our children really profoundly affect the rest of their lives. And unfortunately for most of us, it's the little things that we don't even realize we're doing, you know?
Right.
So that being said, I don't know a good way to even stop sibling rivalry. I think that's just something that's always going to be.
It's natural.
It is, and it's always going to be there. So I
just say push them outside and let them fight to the death.
Hey, I tell my kids all the time, go fight amongst yourselves. Go take care of it yourselves. I'm not getting involved.
Take that shit upstairs. I say that all the time.
Exactly. I don't want to hear it unless there's blood or guts. Don't come to me unless someone's bleeding or otherwise. So, yeah, we're such stellar parents. Where are those Mom of the Year awards they're always talking about?
I happen to think that we're doing a really good job. Like, I mean, I think that our practices might be a little iffy, but our kids are turning out pretty okay.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think so too. I'll pat myself on the back. My kids have survived this far. So thus far, whatever yeah. So yeah.
All right.
So what's next?
Let's move on to our random question.
All right. And we're spicing it up. Spicing it up.
Yeah, spicing it up. I'm not sure how spicy. It's a little prickly.
Yeah. This one is. Wait till my turn. Okay. Wait till my turn next week.
I can't wait. I'm excited. Do you shave your legs to go to the OBGYN?
Oh, hell yeah. I shave my legs every single day.
Ugh.
Every day. Twice a day some days.
Do you do a better job shaving your legs when you go to the OBGYN?
I make sure I don't miss spots because I'm notorious. I'm notorious for half-assing around my ankles. So inevitably I'll like pop my foot up somewhere and then there'll be these stray hairs like, you know, where your foot meets your leg. And I'm like, son of a bitch, how'd I miss that? So
that gynecologist is not looking at your ankles, girl.
But I do definitely, I'm more cautious about shaving certain parts. Yes. You?
There's a lot more self-care that goes into a doctor's appointment.
Yes, Janelle. The hedges do get trimmed certain times of the year.
Yeah.
to put it.
So that is a yes on both of our parts. I think even when I was pregnant, like towards the end, when you remember like what it took to shave when you were like 9 months pregnant.
I didn't even see that shit. I'm not shaving it. I'm sorry. I will be the first to admit that shit did not get shaved. Nothing got touched. You can't see it. Could you see it?
No, I couldn't see it. I was a fucking whale.
I couldn't see it either.
By the time I was pregnant with Henry, I was actually showing before I figured out I was pregnant. So, like, no.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, I guess gynecologists around the world will rejoice when they find out that, you know.
Yeah, and you know, they always do those reports where they're like, we don't care. I'm like, I care. Like, I can't have you thinking that that's just like an overgrown wild field. Yeah, no.
Well, I plant some flowers and that shit and it'll be fine.
Just plant some flowers.
That sounds like the beginnings of some kind of crazy ass hippie photo shoot where like they put flowers in it, you know?
You should get on that.
I really should get on that. That sounds like right up my alley. Yeah.
You got all this free time now. You might as well.
Hell yeah, baby. That's what I'm going to be doing during the day. So when my husband texts me and says, what you doing? And I'll be like, hey, photo shoot when Copper comes.
Flowers in the vagina instead of flowers in the attic. Flowers in the vag.
I bet that's a porno somewhere. What do you think? That's got to be the porno somewhere.
Everything is a porno somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
You should Google that.
I should Google that. Oh, I might.
I can't. I can't. My computer history is already too bad. I can't put anything else in there, or it's going to just come back with "you need Jesus."
You know, that's a hashtag, right? That's going to be a hashtag for one on our Instagram for our episode. Oh, I know, man. If you go back and you look at my history, you'll either think I'm some weirdo who needs to be in jail or someone who needs to, go to therapy. I mean, it's kind of nuts, the stuff I search for.
Yeah. Well, because mine is like an accumulation of recipes, weird ass shit I decide to look up, and spell checking. Like that's
I like how you throw spell checking in there. Like that's gonna matter. Computer knows how to spell vagina and Musk.
It's like 5 different times that I looked up the word apparently because I can't remember if it's an E or an A.
So just out of curiosity. Do you think a musty undersack smells like a musty undersack?
Musky.
I know, but do you think it smells like a musty undersack? See?
What's a musty? Is that the same thing?
I don't know. I don't want to know either. But there's like you flip that one letter in that word and it totally changes that.
I think it's still gross, and I don't want to put my mouth on it.
If you've had that shit in those underwear for that long that it's musty or musky, you in trouble. Yeah.
I can't think about this anymore. It's so gross.
Oh. Hey, before we wrap it up, I was just gonna tell everybody, where you can find us super quick in case you don't know and you've not been introduced to the world of the World Wide Webs.
The interwebs.
You can find us on Facebook. We have a group. We have a website, lifeunderthelaundrypile.com. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, as well as our own personal Instagrams and websites. Copper is Never Drink from Mommy's Cup, and I'm One Fed Up Mommy. So yeah, come find us, all those places.
Yay. And don't forget to keep an eye out for us on the campaign hashtags 2 pods a day.
Which is pretty cool. Tell everybody what that is real quick.
It is a campaign that somebody, Josh Hallmark, has set up. It's Listen More, Listen Indie. It's about independent podcasts out there. So what he's done is he is showcasing 2 smaller, unknown podcasts a day and putting them out there into the interwebs for people to discover. So, and he's done, this is his second campaign. He did one earlier in the springtime. And this one just started on August 1st. And that's pretty much it. And we were accepted. So we don't know when. Sometime in the month of August, our show will be showcased.
Yep, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty awesome.
We don't even know what episode they promoted, which is kind of like, I'm always really curious about which episode did they promote?
Josh, you need the Nutella and pubes episode.
But I did get a message from one of the other. So one of the things that they do is when you're accepted for this campaign is you have to listen to 2 of the podcasts and give a review of them. And one of the other podcasts that reviewed us contacted me and said, "Hey, I really, really enjoyed listening to your show." So I thought that was nice.
Awesome. That is really nice. It's always so nice. Let's just be honest. Whenever people tell us that they love us or we're funny or they like what we're doing, it kind of validates it for me anyway.
Because we're needy. We've been through this. Yeah. We're really needy bitches, and we need to hear how much we're liked. And honestly, we're not. We don't follow a lot of what's the word I want to use? Not themes, but
Protocol?
There's
protocol. No.
Protocol, maybe. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of. There are other shows out there like us, but it's not as common as a lot of the other categories that people go into. So for someone to say, "Hey, I listened, I really liked it." So pretty much we're doing this for ourselves and our 5 listeners. But, for someone random to come in and say, "Hey, that was really good,"
and actually our numbers have ramped up like they go up every month
insanely.
Yes, so
insanely.
It's kind of,
who knows where we'll be this time a year from now.
I know, pretty awesome. So
if you guys behave right, maybe we'll do a live show.
Yep. Yes, absolutely, that would be.
And I mean, like at an auditorium, we'll do a live show, and you can sit there and listen. Yeah. It sounds a lot more exciting in my head than probably it would be, though.
As long as it requires a lot of booze and a lot of giggling and women, we're good. We're good.
And some men.
There you go. Because we do have some male listeners.
We do have.
We do.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great week.
You too. You have fun on your vacation.
Oh, it will
It
be
will.
a blast.
You need to think of me.
Hopefully I'll have some stories to tell.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as I will, I'm sure as the first week of school wraps up. So we'll catch you guys later.
Bye.